Alright, so let's get into it. There's been a few exciting developments that have been happening in England land over the past week. For those of you who are aware, I don't need to go through it. For those of you who are not, I will fill you in on the cliff notes in light of Henry Novak's murder. There has been another attempted murder with that guy that had disabilities. Then that caused the Irish to crash out, and rightfully so, and I think it's 100% correct. They should carry on doing so, and they have started to harass the third world people that have been invading their land for far too long. And as a result of that, obviously should I say some of the established police, corrupt police officers, have taken it upon themselves to harass the Irish in return. Then you've got there was the recent one today, or not today, I think it was yesterday or the day before, where you've got the 17-year-old girl who was stabbed in the neck by one of these animals from the third world countries as well. And once again, obviously, the police are harassing native-born English people. Obviously, they would do that because they are all up in the business of wanting to defend, wanting to protect these so-called precious, noble savages from these PvP countries. And then you've got... Now, obviously, as a result of this, you've got, which is fantastic, you finally got the PvP people starting to warn each other. Well, we're going to get into it now. Jake Munro, I haven't reacted to one of his videos in a good long while, and he's been doing fantastic work. His channel's really blowing up and stuff like that. Good for him. Covering and exposing all of this BS that's happening in Ireland and the UK and that part of the world. So the latest is there's this imam, this Muslim imam, who's busy warning his people that they need to be wary of all the things that are happening. They need to be concerned, and they rightfully should be. As far as I'm concerned, they should be concerned, because these are the same people that will harass and murder and rape all the people in the native land of England and the UK and Europe, really, and wherever they go. That they will harass the native born citizens of the land that they invade. And it's weird, as soon as somebody treats an eye for an eye, all of a sudden they're the perpetual and ultimate victim. And so this imam here we're going to get into is now warning his people that they need to be wary and cautious, and perhaps they should go back to the land from whence they came, which I think is a great idea. But anyway, let's get into it and find out exactly what is what.
Islamic scholar urges UK Muslims to leave after Belfast riots.
Great.
They don't say. The 40-second video emerged days after Sudanese man allegedly stabbed a Belfast riot. What is this allegedly shit? It's on camera. Here's the scholar in question. Scholar. Hilarious.
Other option but to leave the UK and move to a Muslim country now, because your sisters, your mother, your wife, she isn't safe when she's going outside. Like if your mother, your sister, your wife is wearing the hijab, she wears niqab, she wears abaya.
Wait. He's not making the argument I think he's making here, is he?
There is a risk she will get attacked. You can't be with her always. And imagine feeling uncomfortable every single time someone leaves the house.
Yeah, imagine that.
Exactly.
Imagine feeling comfortable every time you leave the house.
I think that's the thing, but it's gotten to the stage where they should feel uncomfortable. They 100% should. I'm tired of playing these games. I'm tired of attempting to make all these excuses and attempting to justify our motives and our frustrations with these murderous people, these vile creatures with their vile god and their vile religion. No, absolutely not. No, they should feel threatened. They should feel apprehensive. They've chosen not to assimilate. First of all, they shouldn't even be in the country, a lot of these people. They're not citizens. They didn't go through the right channels to get into the country. No, why on earth should they be tolerated? The Irish are 100% in the right. They should be crashing out. They should be burning their homes. They should be burning their alleged businesses that they've just so happened to have all of a sudden. They should go into the migrant hotels and harass these people. They've got no right to be in the country. Absolutely right. He's right, this guy, to say that his people should leave. 100%. I'm tired of justifying, and taking the middle of the road stance with these people. No.
Imagine that. Jesus Christ, the lack of self-awareness.
Like, you cannot live comfortably knowing your family isn't safe.
So yeah, let's go back to Baghdad where it's safe for women and stuff.
But that's the thing, again, they should feel unsafe. And it's unfortunate that they come from a rubbish country. But once again, why is it a rubbish country? It's because that rubbish country has a rubbish religion and their government is backwards. Of course, they'd feel unsafe there. So what do? They'll come to Western civilization. They'll come to Western countries, mess up those countries to make it look exactly like the countries that they came from, and wanting to import their BS religion into Western Christendom. And what we're expected just to go ahead and just say, oh, of course, yes, of course. Diversity is our strength. Yes, please, all religions are welcome. No, all religions are not welcome. There shouldn't be a welcoming of these deplorable religions. In fact, there is only one religion, and it's Christianity. Of course, Christianity made the West. Why on earth should the West acquiesce to these people? Why should the West reject Christianity? Unfortunately, in the advent of atheism, it has done so, but I think we're starting to realize, oh, that was a bit of a mistake. But anyway, why on earth should we acquiesce to a less superior religion than the one we already have for the sake of diversity and inclusion? And why should we acquiesce to atheists who have somehow been able to claim the middle ground, to claim the superior ground, to claim the moral high standing, because Christians in the past have decided to, oh no, maybe we don't have the right to dictate our morals onto other people. So what will we do? Let's go ahead and let's allow the atheists to determine what morality is. Let's go ahead and give the atheists a shot at this. Let's allow them to do it. No, absolutely not. This guy's right. They should get out the country.
Curious, why do they wear the hijabs in the first place? Hi, hello. Why do they wear the hijabs in the first place? What do you do to women who remove the hijab and stuff? What happens, Can someone, chat, hello? Chat, what happens?
5 years ago, it was like, come on, you should try to leave the UK, make hijrah, Muslim lands. 3 years ago, you should try. Now, it's like, you need to. It's so amazing that he has practically shown you in the last 5 years how things will become worse and worse. And only Allah knows how bad it's actually going to become. Like, you guys need to start planning for your get out. You're a Muslim.
Are you gonna
Allah
miss him?
doesn't know anything.
You gonna miss him? Chat, would you miss him? Would you miss these black ghosts floating through your streets? Nah, you wouldn't miss them, would you? Oh, what would the UK do with all this cultural enrichment? What would we possibly do?
The UK would 100% be able to get back to some sense of normality. First of all, you need to get freaking Keir Starmer out and honestly get Rupert Lowe in. That's the first thing you need to do, but yes, you need to get these people out. And I think Ireland has done a fantastic thing. It's about time that they've crashed out, and I think a lot of people can take Ireland's example and run with it. In the West, what you want to do is you want to drive them out of Ireland, then you want to drive them out of the next country, and drive them out of the next one, and drive them out of the next one, and threaten them and harass them so much that they feel so unsafe that they'll honestly come to the conclusion, you know what, it's actually better where we came from. Let's go back to the desert. It's better. That's what needs to happen. You need to make it so unbearable for these people that they'll be like, we'll take our chances back in the desert. Then you can start rebuilding the country. And that's exactly what they should be doing. And that seems to be what Ireland is doing, which is great.
You're a Muslim, you have no other option but to leave the UK and move to a Muslim country now, because your sisters, your mother, your wife, she isn't safe when she's going outside.
Exactly right.
That is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. Women are not safe in England, so they have to go back to Muslim countries. Isn't that insane? What an insane thing to say. Again, absolutely no accountability for what his culture has done to this country whatsoever with that ethnic English
No, but
accent.
again, that's the thing. They're not gonna take accountability because they don't see anything wrong with it. Because once again, you can't attempt to reason with a dog. A dog only understands one thing. A dog understands a stick. There has to be discipline. This whole attempting to reason with these people, attempting to make them see our side. No, they have no intention, first of all, to see our side. Their whole religion mandates and dictates to them that it needs to be world domination. They want a caliphate in every single country. They want to overthrow the last see, which is in Rome. And they ain't gonna change. And why should they? In a sense, I can understand where they're coming from, because it's world domination. I can understand that, It's barbaric and it's retarded, of course, but at the end of the day, I can understand it. They've got a mandate, they need to fulfill it. So the whole idea of us attempting to reason and propose evidence of why our culture should be sort of fed by them, and also simultaneously attempt to coexist with people that have no idea of coexisting with us. No, they're not going to. And I think people are finally starting to realize that they're not going to. So the only alternative is two things cannot coexist side by side. One's got to give. And if we continually give ground, they're obviously going to take it. So what is the solution? If we don't want the West to become a backwater, debaucherous, vile, infested crap hole, the same as their countries with their crap religion, what do we have to do? Well, we have to take it back. And unfortunately, they're not going to understand it if it's done diplomatically. We have to speak their language.
You gotta leave. You gotta go to a Muslim country. You. Yeah, I hate that accent so fucking much. This guy thinks women are gonna be safer in a Muslim country. That is hysterical. Like I said, no accountability whatsoever for how their culture has gotten them into this situation in the first place. This cancer of a religion, this demonic religion, where you get to kids because Allah has allowed it. Idiots. Claims the UK is no longer safe from Muslims. That is.
But that's the thing, we should be uninterested in what they have to say. I think people are finally starting to wake up that, they're not going to change. Nothing's going to happen. They're going to remain the same as they have for thousands and thousands of years. Again, they didn't go through the Enlightenment. They haven't become sophisticated like us Westerners. They've got no concept of debating and trying to see things from different sides and trying to understand different views and attempting to sort of coexist for the sake of, the betterment and the advancement of the human species as a whole. They've got no concept of that. They've got the concept of it's us versus them. It makes it really simple, because the only way you can answer people with that mentality, you can't reason with them. You can't present logical evidence. You can't present logical arguments. The only thing you can do is treat them exactly the same way that they treat you. Otherwise, if you treat them better than the way they treat you, they will see that as weakness and will use it against you, and they will take over your culture. So, if you want to preserve your culture, there's only one thing you can do, and that is to get them out one way or another.
is so funny. Do you know what? England's no longer safe for the English because of Muslims. Once
True.
again, when things get too hot, right? When shit hits the fan, they get to go back home, okay? They get to go back home and get away from what's happening. We don't. They come over, they bring their knives and their inferior culture and their demonic religion and their entitlement. They come over here, they bring that bullshit with them, and then when they start slicing us up and they start ruining our cultures, our society, they start making the streets unsafe, they organize gangs. Do we get to go home?
They do.
Do we? No. This is our home. They come over here and start flinging shit in our country. The second we
Literally.
start telling them no more shit flinging, they go, oh, we've got to go back to our country. Yeah, you do. You can do that. You're coming over here treating this like Pleasure Island. You get to go and do whatever the you want. Tear anything down, eat as much as you want, stab as much as you
Yeah, what they've done to Western women, what they've done to Western civilization, what they've done to Western economy, what they've done to just homes in general and infrastructure in general and just the safety in general. It's freaking crazy. Absolutely insane. No, why should it be tolerated? There's no reason to tolerate these people. There's no reason to take it anymore. In fact, we should have never taken it to begin with. I'm saying I'm stuck here in South Africa, but I mean, the point is, it's pretty much the same as well. But yeah, it's of course it needs to be done, and I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad the Irish are standing up. I'm so glad. I think more, just far more. And the difference is, should it work, and should the Irish be able to drive all the illegal third world people out, and after all the chaos it's caused, because I mean the Irish, they're burning down buses, but I understand the concept why they're burning down the buses, because those buses obviously are the ones that ferry all the PvP people around town and all sorts of stuff, and they pick them up from the nice little hotels that they've been granted by the government, so magnanimous, and they go around and drop them off, and then they come pick them up on these fancy Irish buses back to their fancy immigrant hotel, where they get fancy food for free and fancy cell phones and all of these things, because the bleeding heart in government are so sympathetic to the plight of the poor little PvP people. So yeah, the difference is, when all of these people get driven out, because of white ingenuity and creativity, the Irish can simply just build it all back again, and maybe even build it all back again better. So that's the thing, I don't really have much qualms when the Irish set fire to Irish things, because Irish people know how to build things. So you gotta do what you gotta do, I suppose.
want, get put out from prison, go and have another try, see if you can kill the next one. We don't get the luxury of going home. This is our home. This idiot's inferior culture is destroying ours, and our own government is complicit in helping this asshole do it. But you're not gonna leave. Like, why does he think that's a threat? Like, why does he think we're gonna be like, no, don't go, don't. Why does he think that? Everyone's gonna be like, yeah, bye. Why does he think, why do they think that's a threat? Then we're gonna leave if you keep doing this. It's like, great, yeah, great,
So,
see you
yeah,
later, bye.
go
No,
for it.
I'm really going to do it. I'm going to leave. Yeah, great.
That's what
Fine.
we wanted all
I'm
along, exactly. Yes.
Stepping out the door. Great. Don't let it hit you on the way out.
Exactly.
Here you go. I'm down the street now. Oh, I'm going to the ferry. Yeah, goodbye. See you later. Oh, I'm never coming back. You'll regret it. You'll never see me. We all knew I really wasn't going to go. How can we make this work? Is there something I can do? I love your benefits. It's so good. Oh, would you look at that? No, you gotta go. No, please don't make me go back to New Delhi. That place is shit. I don't want to go. No, you're going back. You're going back there, fella. What happened to the threats of like, oh, we're gonna leave. We gotta go back to where it's safe. Where it's safe for Muslim. It's safe for Muslim women. Why do you think?
Knowing your family isn't safe. 5 years.
Why do you? Does this not know why Muslims are here in the first place? Does he not know? Do you think Muslims came here for the weather? Oh, it must have been the beaches. Spare me! It's not safe on the streets. You gotta go back to Muslim country. My ass open. Jesus Christ. They're low IQ and they remind you every minute of the day, don't they? Yeah, we went to Muslims migrated in their millions to England because, you know, the food and the beaches were just top notch. They're here because their countries are dog shit, and we don't like dog shit countries. And
Well, again, I would grant, yeah, sure, some of them are there for economic enrichment and for better opportunities. But, again, it goes back to the mandate that they have from their religion. Their mandate is world domination. So I would wager, even if the West was crapper than the countries that they came from, but it was Christian and somehow crap, which is an oxymoron and a contradiction, because it can't be, because Christianity just makes things better. But even if they were crap and Christian, they would be mandated to go take over those countries, because everything needs to be Islam. So sure, it just so happens to benefit them in the fact that, oh, these Christian civilizations that we need to take over, it's quite nice, because they're also fantastic. So we'll go there, we'll convert them. Never mind the fact that our religion does have a tendency of, once people convert, the civilization declines, because Islam is a rubbish religion. But we'll gloss over that for the sake of, once again, we simply just need to take over.
stuff, do we? No, we don't like that at all. We don't like dog shit cultures. And then we get mad and we're like, hey, your culture is shit. What do you talk about, fam? We talk about you. I'm talking about your culture. Stop talking like that. Talk about your culture. It's shit. Your religion is barbaric and shit. Go home. You're here because it's not safe for you there, because your culture is and you're trying to do it here, and we're saying off. And now you're the victim. Hell, man. I can't deal with these people, which is why I think they should go. I think they should leave. You know, recently in Brighton, an Afghan migrant, a group of them, a troop, they gang a white British lady, and they filmed it while they were laughing at her. Isn't that nice? That's.
And what's crazy about these stories, I mean, you know, you become so desensitized to it, which is, you know, in itself terrible. I mean, the fact that you hear so many of these stories, countless stories about the crazy crap that they get up to, just the atrocities that they get up to. It's become almost normalized, which is absolutely insane to even say. That's how bad it's gotten. You become so disillusioned and disaffected by it, like it doesn't even faze you anymore. I mean, it's 100%. It still makes one mad, and it still makes one super triggered, as it should. But it becomes so normalized, so commonplace, and it shouldn't be. Yet, different people in the West have different options about how to figure it out. You'll have the liberals that will go ahead and say, no, they're just misunderstood. We just need to treat them better than they treat us. And somehow, by us treating them better than they treat us, they'll see our compassion. They'll see our kindness and our Western hospitality, and they'll come over to our side. All the while, they'll criticize you if you had to say anything contrary to the liberals' opinion, because of course the liberals, you need to agree with them lockstep. You can't have any differing opinion with them, otherwise you are immediately classified as a right-wing extremist. Getting to the right-wing extremists, the other option is the simple one. Get them out of the country. I'll take the latter option. Historically, it seems to work pretty well.
That's cultural enrichment. You know what? Let's remind ourselves about that culturally enriching situation. So I hate that I can type this. So Brighton gang migrant filmed it. Yeah, it's right here. I hate that this is the thing. 3 men, Abdullah Ahmadi, Ibrahim Aishafe, and Karine Al-Dansut, were convicted at Hove Crown Court of a woman on Brighton Beach in October. The 3 defendants, who were asylum seekers residing in a hotel in the area, dragged their highly intoxicated victim to a secluded area, while 2 of them repeatedly raped her, while Al-Dansut filmed the ordeal on his mobile phone. For some added details, they're laughing in the video, and she's begging them to stop, and they're laughing. There was no riots about this. This is Muslims.
Well, I mean, historically speaking, it's a known fact that the Muslims have always considered Western women as inferior. They've always considered them as, in the sources, if you go into them, Raymond Ibrahim, he's got a great book about it. I've got it, Sword and Scimitar. Scimitar. He talks about the fact that these Muslims in the past, and it's throughout their religion, they've always got this concept of white women are considered lesser, and there's this connotation behind it as white women almost crave sex. They want it so badly. This is why they dress in such, in Muslim words, skimpy dresses and stuff like that, because obviously they don't want to cover themselves up like walking post boxes, because no sane person wants to cover themselves up like a walking post box. So because they show a little bit more flesh than your average Muslim woman, that automatically means that they want sex a lot more than your average Muslim woman. Deranged.
He wants to talk about how it's not safe for Muslim women on the streets of the UK anymore. What's this, mate? Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Your women aren't safe on the streets of the UK. First time, it's you. You're the unsafe ones. We told you for years to off. Did you listen? No, you didn't. Did you? In this video, these three men are laughing while they're this woman, whose life will never be the same, by the way, and they shared this video that they made with all the other migrants in the hotel. And despite this, more migrants came in the next day. This guy wants to talk about their women not being safe on the streets of England anymore. Oh, fella, do I have news for you? They don't complain about the migrant rapes. They don't complain about the stabbings. They don't complain about any of the injustices, the phone thieves that are driving around. They're all ethnic minorities in the context of England. They're not concerned with any of the damage that they've done to our cultures, to our culture. They don't care about the knife crimes. They don't care.
No, but again, of course they won't concern themselves with it, because we're seen in their eyes, Westerners are seen as an inferior species because we're not Muslims. And even if we were Muslims, they would just double down and they would move the goalpost and say, no, but you're not Arabs. In order to be a true Muslim, you have to be an Arab. So even if you are a delusional white person, which unfortunately there is many who have converted, or shall I say, reverted back to Islam according to their understanding. You can't be a convert, you can only ever be a revert, because somehow in Islam, everybody was born a Muslim, and some people have just forgotten that they were Muslims. And so we are, and can only ever be reverts to Islam, which is... that makes no sense. But you've got this concept within Islam, and so no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you'll never be able to appease them, and they'll continually and forever always see you as inferior if you are white, if you are black, if you are any other ethnic race, any other color of skin besides that weird caramel brown, that weird desert brown that they are, and you happen to be an Arab. Which is, it kind of makes it really simple for us, doesn't it?
Care about sucking off of welfare, about increasing the price of everything because they are just chronic parasites. They don't care about any of that. They're concerned when their own are being attacked because they're not British. The only thing they care about is themselves. They don't care about us. They're not British. I don't give a flying what his passport says. These people only ever complain when they are on the receiving end of their consequences. Whenever this woman was how many...
But that's exactly it, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to complain. They're going to make a big fuss. They're going to do some terrible thing, and as soon as you point it out, as soon as you retaliate, as soon as you do something to retaliate and to show some resistance to what they're doing, they're of course going to play the victim. Because of course that exactly panders perfectly to the wokeists, to the liberals, to the commies, to the socialists that are in power. Because as soon as there's a minority that's being oppressed by the bad white man, they can go ahead and run to mommy, the liberals, the socialists, and mommy will clamp down with an iron fist on the bad white man. Because you should be welcoming. You ought to be nice like us. Niceness in this case is pretty dangerous, and it's going to end civilizations. So I will rather go with the opposite of niceness in this case, for the sake of preserving Christendom, for the sake of preserving white civilization, for the sake of preserving, and maybe even in the future, when all of this gets sorted out, dare I start to dream and hope that we might be able to even advance.
Came out and we're like, we don't condone the gang of that white woman. And no, they don't care. They don't give a shit. When shit starts getting tough for them, then they care. Then they start talking about how they're the victim and how we should leave and get away from this. They're not British. They don't care about the British. They provably don't care. It's demonstrable that they don't care. And these people are our f***ing mayors. Do you think they care about these cities and towns and villages from the perspective of a British person? Or do you think they just see it as another dumping ground? Not only do they not give a about what their culture is doing to British people, they're not out here on the streets saying, we do not condone this Sikh community, the Muslims, we don't condone this, we're on your side, British boy, we're on your side. No, they don't give a fuck. They're not out here showing solidarity with British people, being like, we don't condone the gang rapes that are happening. That's not part of our culture, because it is part of the culture. The only thing they're doing is going out and being like, well, how is this gonna make us luck now? People are they're turning against us and it's not safe for us now. We don't give a fuck about your safety what the fuck are you talking about? After everything you've done, you expect us to give a how safe you feel walking down the street? Do I have tattooed on my forehead like I give a
Well, it's the same mentality as they're under the impression that every single white person, because this is where they don't know how to distinguish between people. They're incapable of distinguishing because in their ideology, in their thinking, they must think that, well, okay, everybody where I come from is a Muslim, so therefore we're all the same. They don't understand the concept of, in the West, we're a bit more divided. You can thank atheism for that, I suppose. We're more divided because we've got the right and the left. We've got different schools of thought. And once again, this brings back to the Enlightenment, where people started discussing certain things. Some disagreed on some things, some disagreed on other things. And so we are very fractured. They don't have this concept. They just understand everybody's Muslim, everybody thinks the same, everybody's low IQ, everybody's brain dead, so that's fine. We're all like that. So therefore, that must mean, and obviously in their low IQ hubris, they automatically project all of that crap onto the West. And they think, well, the West must also be stupid like us. The West must also be stupid and unified, exactly like we are. So that's why they'll take advantage of the liberals and they'll learn and come to the conclusion, okay, well then that means that all white people must think like liberals. This makes our conquest a lot easier to do then, because then we can simply just go ahead, go do crime, go do rape, go do murder, go do all these kind of things. This music's loud, sorry, let me just turn that down real quick. We can go ahead and do all these things. And the liberals clearly, because they're also delusional, just as delusional as we are, we can go ahead and do all these sorts of things. If anybody says anything, we can just play the victim and we've got a good working experience that the liberals will just go ahead and say, oh, don't worry about it. That's not a problem. You can carry on. You can carry on. Until they've met the right. And the right doesn't seem to quite like being taken over and being harassed and being violated and being oppressed in their own damn countries. And then all of a sudden, the only thing that they can do is, once again, as I said, run to mommy, the liberals, who happen to be in power. Why the hell we ever let that happen? So they run to mommy, and then of course mommy's going to take care of, once again, the right.
Every opportunity they get to stand out in the streets and say, we don't condone what these migrants are doing to British people. We just want to live in solidarity and live amongst you. No, they don't say that, do they? They stay quiet.
But they won't,
keep to
because they don't need to,
and then once
because
they
it
start
works.
suffering consequences of staying silence is violence, to use a leftist and silence is violence. Silence is violence. If they're not out here actively denouncing this violence, then they're complicit. They're complicit in this violence. If they're part of it. If they won't stand up and denounce it, then they're part of it. And then as soon as white people start pushing back and be like, do you know what, mate? Fuck off. Oh, it's no longer safe on the street. Get the fuck out of here, King Julian. What do you think? We're just gonna be okay with this? Are women unsafe on the streets? Join the club, asshole. Jesus Christ. Hey, chat, real quick. Hey, look, you see the story here? One of many BT dubs. This is one of many stories.
Yeah.
This is not the only story
That's the
of
thing.
a group of migrants pack a British girl and filming it and laughing it.
Yep.
This is not the only story about this. How many have there been stories of white men gang a Pakistani chick and filming it? Has there been many? What do you think? Have you heard of it?
Much,
for real. Do you remember that?
Probably
Oh,
not
do you
so much.
remember? Oh yeah, that one time. Yeah, I remember that one time. Yeah, it was all over the news. There was a group of nice white fellas gang a Pakistani girl, and they filmed it and they uploaded it, and they were laughing and stuff. Yeah, I remember that. No, you don't. It never happened. Could you imagine the violent retribution that would happen if white people went over to their countries and started creating gangs that specifically and exclusively targeted their women? What do you think they would do in their own countries? They would rip our heads off. They would expel us. They wouldn't look at it as cultural enrichment. These white people coming here, they're allowed to leave them alone. It's fine. We need the culture. We do. Evidently they do, actually. They wouldn't excuse the gangs, bury the inquiry in order to maintain diversity, in order to quell racial tension in Bangladesh. We must protect these white people in our...
But they don't have the concept. They don't have the concept of diversity. They don't have the concept of multiculturalism. They don't have that concept. It's, you know, India is for Indians. Iran is for Iranians. Baghdad is for Baghdadians. Whatever you would... Afghanistan is for Afghans. Yeah, this is how the world outside of the West works. They've got this staunch nationalistic pride, which is so terrible and so ugly. Such an ugly word in the West. But that's how the world operates. And prior to the woke mind virus taking over, that was considered, even in the West, a normal thing. It's good to be proud of your heritage. It's good to be proud of your nation. In fact, that's what makes the nation flourish. And you build precept upon precept, and you advance your nation by having a degree of pride in your nation. Have nations done things perfectly? Nope, but I can guarantee you there's a lot of Western civilizations and nations that have done a hell of a lot better for humanity than the rest of the world has. And yeah, you can thank Christianity for that.
Culture, because they're culturally... Yes, I know they're making gangs, but we can't exile them back to the UK. We need the culture. Why are we the only ones that are expected to do that? You literally just...
Because of atheism.
Replace the geography of what's happening here. Okay? There's a metric ton of British lads going over to Bangladesh, okay? To culturally enrich it. And then some of us start making gangs. British weight gangs where we go around and we target underage Indian girls exclusively. The response would be beheadings. They wouldn't be deporting us. They would be killing us in the streets. They'd find out that white guys were making a rape gang in Bangladesh.
And also, can you, if that scenario had to happen, can you imagine the liberals, what they would say if a group of UK lads went over to India and decided to do this? The liberals, obviously, because they'd stay at home, because they'd be too petrified to actually do the things that they claim that they support. Like pro-Palestine, well, go to Palestine. Ooh, no, I'll support from a distance. But can you imagine what the liberals would say if the liberals found that out? They would absolutely go bananas. You see, point proven that whites are supremacists. Whites are the worst among us. That would actually make their day. But needless to say, we've got no interest in doing that, and that will never happen.
and then they would kill us all. Well, we tried it, but you know, they had to go ahead and make a gang. We had to kill a lot of them. And they defend it, and then leftists in the UK would be like, oh, well, yeah, they had to. This is the worst thing ever. So why the fuck are we expected to tolerate this? I don't understand. All of this shit is not in mainstream media. They don't report on it. They don't tell you about it. In fact, because of social media,
it's gonna hurt them if they do.
Being bought by a South African trillionaire. Incidentally, there was only ever going to be one trillionaire in the world, and he was going to be white. Okay, there was also only going to be a person this rich from South Africa, and he was going to be white. Let's get real here. Because of social media, because of X, and because Elon Musk bought it and removed and fired all of the woke leftist DEI censorship teams. What he fired like 75% of the Twitter team? Was it 75% of the team he fired? And the majority of this team was dedicated to just censoring right-wing nationalism. He fired the entire team. He removed the restrictions, kind of. You still can't criticize Jews too much on there. Shocker. But they don't control everything, guys. It's a conspiracy theory. They don't control everything. Because we're able to go on X and see what the world actually is doing.
Look at the people that actually set fire to things. They're not Jews.
To stop that from happening. Oh yeah, they're trying to crack down on X so that we don't notice what's happening. Because they are far more concerned that we're noticing what's happening than the things that are happening.
True. Alright, that's it. That ended abruptly.
Hollywood names.
Okay. So the critical drinker. Oh no, I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That was Jake Munro. Like I said, I haven't responded to him in ages, so I thought I'd respond to him. But yeah,
only ever complain
in light of what's been happening in the UK, what's been happening in Ireland, and I'm so thankful once again that the Irish are finally starting to wake up and starting to realize, and they've just had enough. And trust the Irish to go ahead and lead the charge for this. I think it's fantastic. It needs to double down. Rupert Lowe needs to get into power. That's the only way I see that England is going to be saved. I do know that there's been France as well. They've started protests and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully this thing really starts catching fire. And yeah, drive them out. We have to drive them out. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I'll check you guys on the next one. Cheers.